Welcome to 247 Real Talk. Happy to be here with you. If you're watching this on YouTube and you'd only see this on YouTube, when you started this podcast episode, it started with a notice that this episode is dedicated in the memory of my dear friend and spiritual, emotional, mental, everything brother, my dear friend Selvin Austin, who has been given his wings at, I think he was around 59 years old. This week has been a tough one for me. I hope you guys had a better one than I did. 2 Saturdays ago, I lost a friend of 34 years. And she was a good friend. That was last Saturday. This Saturday gone, just passed, I lost a friend at 59 years old from a heart attack. He was as close to a blood brother as one could be. As I come on the air tonight with this podcast, my mind, my heart is numb. My mind is mixed with all different thoughts of his life, what a beautiful person he was, how he lived his life, and how important it is to make sure that we understand our purpose and that we go forth each and every day with the understanding that while the world seems bent on fighting wars and the world seems bent on greed, life is as fleeting and as fragile as one single moment. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. It is so important for us to recognize that life is not anything else but a gift. It is not something you can demand. It is not something you have the right to. To live is a privilege. And what you do with your life is so important. Because every moment, every day, every effort must count towards something. So many people live their lives without purpose. So many people live their lives with the wrong purpose. I have to often go back, as I do again today, to my pastor, Pastor O'Connor. He sent me this morning. He always seems to send fuel for my thoughts. This says, "There's nothing quite as intense as a moment of clarity when you suddenly see what's really possible for you." As I thought about that this morning, and I thought about my friend Selvin and what a beautiful person he was, I realized a lot of things. But most importantly, I realized that he had a very clear understanding of his life and what was possible from very young. Going back many, many years ago, I met Selvin in the 90s. I was a team leader of an IT group. I hired him to work for me from one group that we already existed into my group. And he remained as part of my team until about a year and a half ago when he decided to resign his job, save his pension, and move on to a company that had offered him a bigger, better position. Selvin was a person who could not say no. In the early days, he worked as a technician for me, and I would assign him a ticket to go, let's just say, fix a mouse Something that would take a computer mouse, I'm talking about now, or a keyboard, something that would take 5 minutes, and he would come back an hour later. And the first times, a few times it happened, I remember saying, "What's wrong, dude, man?" This is a process as we were growing together closer and closer. And I realized that what was happening each time is, as he walked across the floors of the buildings to where he had to go and service the call, on his way back, everyone who had an issue would stop him and say, "Can you help?" Now, these people were supposed to call our help desk, submit a request ticket for service, but Selvin couldn't say no. Selvin helped so many people in his lifetime that we can live 3 of his lifetimes and can't add up to what he did. When I first remodeled this basement that I'm in, that's now here, this part of it's my studio, or my home. I'm facing my camera, but the wall behind the camera was the first wall I put in, and it's a wide wall, or a long wall, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm trying to run the tracks. I was struggling to get the laser line right because the wall itself on an older home seemed to be slightly slanted. Selvin showed up to help me set one track and spent the entire day framing the wall behind the camera, the wall to my side. And when I never forget when we got close to the end, we had to do some complicated framing to sort of box in some return steam pipes. And I was unsure of, I'm pretty good at that stuff, but the way it had to be balanced and mounted, I said, "Help me finish this." He says, "Julian, I gotta go." He says, "I promised my wife I would have been home 2 hours ago, and she always complains that I don't know when to say no. And I always keep on doing and doing and doing." I looked at him and said, "You know what? She's right, and you're right. Go ahead." Then, of course, when he got home, he called to see how I made out. There's many messages I want to leave in this short episode. It's not going to be a long one because I don't have it within me. I'm here because it's important that before we put his body in the ground, that those of you who did not know Selvin get to know some part of Selvin and what his life represented. Kindness. So much so that it sometimes hurt himself in his own circle because people would say, "You promised to be here at 6 o'clock and you didn't show up, or you showed up late," and that's because he was stuck helping someone else. Because once he saw that you were in need, he never knew how to stop but to continue helping you until you no longer had a need. This was one person. Imagine what the world would be like if everyone took on the responsibility of helping each other. For one moment in their lives, decided to put someone else, a stranger even, a mere acquaintance, ahead of themselves. As I look through the comments online and everything else about my friend, many times when people pass, when people leave this world, there's a set of people who go, they post good comments about them that they probably never said to the person in their lives. Selvin always knew that he was loved. Selvin knew what was going on in his life. Selvin knew that everyone cared. Selvin knew that he was what he meant to everyone. When he told me in the year and a half ago that he would be leaving and going to take this job, I was conflicted. I was conflicted because part of me, of course, wants to wish him well, great. But after working for me for almost 25 years or more, I was hurting by his loss. Not just for the professionalism and the care he brought to the job and to the whole environment around him, but the fact that he was going on somewhere else, I wouldn't have that ready access to my friend physically. And then his company had a headquarters in Florida and in New York, and he just finished building a beautiful new house in Florida. I think he moved in within the last 8 months. Selvin was a DIYer like me. Selvin would fix something for himself, would build everything for his family and friends. And it was last Saturday night in his garage that he went home to his Creator. Selvin knew who he was. Selvin knew whose he was. The last part of my message to you, or another part I can say, I think I have 2 more points to make. A few years ago, Selvin had gone to the doctor because he was having some heart issues. He had been back and forth for a while, and then I seemed to not hear anything about it. And he moved around like you or me or anyone else, like if nothing was wrong. And I often wonder now, in hindsight, because I press a lot of my male friends, especially males, who think that we're so invincible that we only need to visit the doctor when something is wrong. Me personally, I have blood work 2 or 3 times a year. I got kids late in my life. I have young kids who need me. And if God says to me, I will preserve your life and give you a long, healthy life, but the healthy part is up to you, then I'm in it. Because I check the doctor 3 times a year, blood work, EKG every year, to make sure whatever is within my control to do to preserve this temple of a body that my Creator provided for me, I will do. Too many of us don't pursue our health. Now, I'm not saying that's Selvin's case. Because at the same time, when we get called home by who created us, no amount of money, power, greed, color of skin, race, gender, none of that matters. It was also odd that I heard from a lot of people, and including me, that last week, the week before he passed, he called and reached out to a bunch of people who he hadn't even spoken to in a long time, to touch base. And now I'm left wondering if there was something he knew that we didn't. But what I want to leave with you in this short episode is, Selvin taught me something. Selvin taught me the value of life. Selvin taught me that kindness has a reward no matter when you leave this place. You can leave here miserable, you can leave here struggling, or you can leave here in peace because you've lived a life that demands nothing else in return but peace. Everybody loves Selvin because Selvin gave out love. Each and every one of us can learn from this story I'm telling you tonight, because if we give out that love, we receive that love. It is important to understand that this is not just a day-to-day journey thinking about ourselves and doing for ourselves and caring about ourselves and not caring about what happens to the person next to us. Seeing someone in need and having the ability to help, even with $1, and just not going to reach into our pockets because we don't want to. No. This life is about sharing and caring, uniting, standing for what's right, or whatever the journey takes you, believing in it. Remember I said, there is nothing quite intense as a moment of clarity when you suddenly see what's really possible for you. Have you seen what's possible for you? Are you living your life in a way that you're opening up the possibilities because you're demanding goodness and God's grace in return? When I say demanding, you can't demand God's grace, you can't earn God's grace, but you know what I'm saying. In other words, you're living a life that is pleasing to who created you. Do the right things. Live the right life. It will matter greatly. Remember, life is fragile. And all the fights going on in the world, it's time to close your mind to all the destruction and focus on the changes you can make and the beauty you can bring to this world and the people you can touch. I'm going to say this prayer that my pastor sent to me today. Lord, today I pray for clarity. Bless my body and soul. I pray for covering for my loved ones. Shield us. Keep us whole. I pray for peace in the world. Intervene. May this day as it unfolds provide opportunities to fulfill and live into the promises you have given me. May it be a day when I make meaningful connections with others. May you guide me and catalyze the workings of my mind. And may I sow seeds today that will germinate and bear fruit. Amen. Remember, kindness in this world has so many more rewards, and will take some of the harshest moments that you have and make them bearable, livable, and even joyful. We often talk about being united and making sure that you take care of yourselves and each other. That is important because we do not know the day or the hour when our Creator calls us home. We do know our prayers and we do know our desires. He is the ultimate decision maker, regardless of what we think should be. I often pray that I always want to be here as long as I can for my young children because I never want them to face the struggles of losing someone so young. And I pray that happens. And I believe that blessed and being blessed to see those things you pray for so hard are directly related to the life you live. We may hide behind the shadows and do ill will to a lot of people through our greed and our anger and our deceit and all the other ways we look at someone else who may have more, or someone else who does not believe in our ideologies, and be ready to commit crimes and do harm. Someone else may not see us on this earth, but our Creator sees our heart, sees our actions, sees our true desires. We can't fake it for Him. Live the life with the possibilities you have in front of you, and you'll see the rewards of what you sowed. My dear friend and brother, Selvin Austin, from my heart to yours that floats with the angels, it has been an honor and a privilege. Rest in peace, my brother.